Hello. We are live with no. We are live. Okay. So it is 6 o'clock. There's no warning for anything. Just figured I'd go live. I think a bunch of other people have gone live already. So I'm going to give a quick update as to. Just got home from work, by the way. Had dinner. Saw that there's some live streams with Uncle Smokey. So I'm sure he has some great things to say. Also, there's a live stream with roller pigeons, so that was all good. Everyone's talking right now, so I just thought I'd throw my 2 cents in there. Again, everyone's probably said everything that needs to be said, but just in case you're not aware, the situation right now is that we have approval by, or we have MMTLP is on the daily list of FINRA. They have said MMTLP shareholders with settled positions as of 12/12/22 record date will receive 1 share of NextBridge Hydrocarbons Inc. for every 1 share of MMTLP held on pay date of 12/14/22. Purchases of MMTLP executed after 12/8/22 will not receive the dividend, will not be quoted X, which means that there is no X dividend. It doesn't exist after X dividend. Hello, everybody! Wow, this is the first time I've actually gone live stream. So this is hey Elsa Berlaza from San Diego. I used to live in San Diego a while back. I lived close to Scranton Road, actually, close to Wireless Alley. Anyway, yeah. So we are now out of FINRA. The next step is to go to the DTC or the DTCC, and they will issue guidance to brokers. As I did call up Fidelity, and they have not, as of the time I called them, which was a few hours ago, they have not received a corporate actions notice yet. So that means that they will probably receive corporate actions notice soon, probably tomorrow, I imagine, and that's it. So shorts don't have a lot of time to close, and I just I couldn't wish for a better setup, to be honest. It's actually a better setup than I ever imagined would happen. I imagined that they would give the shorts plenty of time, but it looks like the shorts don't have a lot of time to close. They just have to basically close. So the next few days will be literally crazy. I was planning to take the 12th off, but I don't think I will now. I think the next 2 days matter even more, because that's when everything's going to start hitting the fan. It's going to be really interesting. So, so hey, thanks for the live chats. I'm seeing a ton of people chatting. I had no idea that I'd have an audience, to be honest. Anyway, I just thought a live stream would be quicker than actually going to than actually doing a presentation and whatnot. So there was some confusion on my part earlier, because I thought, hey, 12/13/22, maybe that's maybe end of day. But no, they said the effective X date summary is 12/13/2022 at 0 hour, which basically means midnight. From 12/12/22 to 12/13/22, the midnight of that day. So early in the morning, it's gone. You won't be able to do anything with it by 12/13/22. So you got to get everything done that you want to get done by 12/12/22. All that said, if you want to get the shares, then you have to own them or you have to buy them by 12/8. Okay, so make sure you set up your plans. Make sure you've bought whatever shares you want to go into NextBridge Hydrocarbons by 12/8. They do state that they will. They will. So it's unclear if you can still keep trading your shares all the way up until 12/12, right? It sounds as though to me that you can, which basically means that you can sell your shares. There's no point buying shares then, because you will not get the, according to the FINRA comments, you will not get the NextBridge Hydrocarbon spinout, right? So the only people who will be buying shares at that point in time would be shorts, closing their positions. So it sounds as though, and it'll be a position close only, right? So position close only from 12 9, basically, all the way till 12:12, 2 days to position close. That means if you're long, you can choose to sell your shares. If you're a short, you can choose to close your position by buying your shares. And if you're a short and you buy your shares, since you've already sold the shares before, you won't be getting any Nextbridge Hydrocarbon shares. That's a non-issue. You'll just be canceling out whatever debt you owed. And so that's a good thing. KYP says, thank you. I have only 1K shares. Hey, look, it doesn't matter how many shares you have. Those 1K shares may be worth quite a lot. You never know. You never know. If it goes into 4 digits, that's like $1 million right then and there. So I'm getting lots of. I'm just trying to keep up with the chat. It says, "Will you come and party with us in Vegas, Tony?" Well, we'll see. Probably. Thank you for your hard work, Tony. Hey, it's been a pleasure, and I'm invested in this as well too. Part of the reason I got into it and started to make videos was for some friends of mine. I wanted to get feedback if I was wrong, right? And if I made any mistakes, I figured that someone would tell me. Sure enough, somebody did. I did make some mistakes along the way. John Berta corrected me. Thank you, John Berta. Couldn't ask for better correction. So, and it was way back when I thought that the shorts had, nearly unlimited powers. John Berta says, no, they don't have unlimited powers. They have to do certain things in a certain way. So, good. I mean, I'm great. So I, Vegas, baby. Yes. In case you didn't know, there's a plan for a Vegas party after this. And a lot of people will be there. Bird Lady, Uncle Smokey, Terry. So, yeah. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for all the thank yous. And at some point, I feel a responsibility to my audience, and I feel a responsibility to you guys, because you actually inspired me to keep making videos, right? At some point, I say to myself, look, I've made all the videos that I need to make. All the information's out there. But then I get responses from, from you guys out there that basically say, hey, make a video for me about this, or what happens if. So it's like, okay, I'll make a video. It's cool. So thank you to everyone out there for inspiring me to keep going, right? So there you go. It's actually been a lot of fun for me making videos, because I did a lot of presentations, and I did a lot of presentations earlier in my career. I'm not doing too much presentations right now, but I used to, and it keeps my presentation skills effective. So it keeps them still up to date. So there you go. Wow, we have Sex 69 fun. Okay, we have to somehow figure out how to remove that. That I don't know. I do not know how to do that, but we'll find out, I guess. Anyway, so a lot of people saying thank you. You're welcome. Thank you for being out there and for inspiring me to keep going. So there you go. It's been a lot of fun, but I think it's going to keep going, because I think the next step after this is metamaterials, MMAT, and MMAT. If this thing goes as big as I think it's going to be, and a lot of that money goes back into MMAT, or even a small portion of it goes back into MMAT, MMAT is going to skyrocket. And once it starts gaining momentum, there's going to be even more money going into it. And it's just, I mean, that's why I call it the double squeeze, right? I think there's a huge possibility here. I think it should be so cool. I can't help express enthusiasm about this, because it's really awesome. Am I Indonesian? No, I'm not Indonesia. My genes originally come from Burma, China, and Portugal. So they are a diverse crowd of genes. They're all over the place. So it would be impossible otherwise to try to figure out what ethnicity I am. But I grew up in New York, so if I have a slight New York accent, then that's probably what I sound like. So Ali points out that the 8th isn't in the S1. No, the 8th is not in the S1. So the 8th is there because if you take the 8th and you add 2 business days after that, you get to the 12th. And so that means that if you buy on the 8th, it'll settle by the 12th. and then they will freeze all. They'll freeze all trading. They'll go to position close only at that point. So if you opened a position on the 8th, you'll be set up for NextBridge hydrocarbons, right? So that's why the 8th is the 8th. Yes, Tony, live stream, first time. Actually, I did try a live stream earlier today, and because I had some issues with my laptop. This is the same laptop I use for making videos and all that. It was originally set up with an Elgato interface, and so we had no video then, but we did have sound, and that was enough to get the message out. So there you go. Do we have to call E-Trade to transfer to NextBridge? So what's going to happen is that I'm excited to pour most of MMTLP back into MMAT after the run-up. If it's over 200, oh yeah, definitely, it'll definitely hit past 3 digits, I think. Anyway, so do you have to call up E-Trade or your broker to transfer into NextBridge? And the answer to that is I would check with your broker, of course. I'm not a financial advisor, not giving financial advice, but chances are that your broker will be able to accept and have the NextBridge hydrocarbon shares. You won't be able to trade them. You won't be able to do anything with them. But you may be able to once you have the NextBridge hydrocarbon shares in your brokerage account, there should be some way with your broker to transfer it to AST if you want to transfer it to AST. Personally, I like my broker, so I'd probably want to keep it with Fidelity, but that's a personal choice. There's no advantage to keeping it with Fidelity versus keeping it with AST. For me, I just like everything in one nice place. That's all. Hi, Terry. Hey, there you go. So I don't know if Terry closed his if his live stream is still going on yet or not, but I do know he's been on there for a while. So Terry has been there from the start, and he's the one who coined the phrase metamillionaires. So I really do truly hope, and I do really believe that there will be a ton of metamillionaires out there. And I'm just glad to have helped anyone out to become a metamillionaire. Can you turn on your super chats? No, I will not turn on my super chats because I don't want to accept any donations. I will be doing so well for Metamaterials. Please do not donate to me. It's okay. That's part of the reason I turned off my that's part of the reason I turned off any kind of monetization in YouTube. They were threatening to send me some checks for a few $100s or so, and I was like, hey, I don't really need the money because I really believe in the MMTLP play, to be honest. And the MMTLP play is huge, right? So again, I'm in good shape for that. Please help us understand the timeline as far as selling the squeeze versus holding on to NextBridge. So that's something I'm still thinking about myself. So all the way up till the 8th, you can open and close positions, right? But I expect there will be a frenzy of buying. Anyone who's short, if he has any intelligence whatsoever, will turn off his computer algorithms and actually start closing their positions before the broker closes it for them. And they only have 2 days to do this, so hopefully they'll be quick about it. But if they're not, then they will suffer the fate of higher and higher prices. So the question comes up, is it best to sell, if you're long, is it best to sell before the 8th? Is it best to sell after the 8th to the shorts? Should you hold on all the way till the 12th? To which I don't really know the answer to that, of course. No one knows the future. I think it might be a good idea to do a dual strategy, right? As you're going up. So up until the 8th, we'll have additional longs piling in because of the news will spread. We'll have additional FOMO coming in. After the 8th, the only people who will be buying will be shorts closing their positions, right? Which means they have to buy from sellers. So longs will have to be allowed to sell, and shorts will have to be allowed to buy. So that's where the buying and selling goes by. And the question comes up: how many shorts would be left after the 8th? Going into the 9th and the 12th. And there is a strong belief, and I am of the belief that there will be a large number of shorts. So I don't know if that they can close all of their positions up until, by the end of business day on the 8th, that they could still be open. And if they are still open, that means that the price will continue to keep going up, and it'll be automated trading, right? It'll be, whatever limit sell orders are, that's the way it goes. And the price will just keep going up and up and up, because the computerized algorithms, they'll just hit the market and they'll say, okay, hit the ask, up until, because the shorts have to close their positions, they have to buy, and it'll go on and on. And I don't see a reason why longs should have any, lower prices at that point in time, right? Hey, Tony, your biggest fan. Do you think, since FINRA approved today, that we will have to wait for Monday the 12th for big shorts to liquidate, or Friday? Opinions, please. Okay. So again, this is what I'm talking about right now. I think it will start heading up. The only question is, should you wait? Should you hold on? It depends. It depends how far it heads up by in the next 2 days. If it gets beyond $60, then that's good. Then it could steamroll into the triple digits. Then at that point, if it doesn't head up very high, which I don't believe that to be the case, but if it doesn't head up that high, then you got to ask yourself if you want to go into NextBridge hydrocarbons, and if NextBridge hydrocarbons, will pay out in the length of time that you expect that, expect to make that money back. And so in my particular case, I will probably be doing a bit of both. Okay, I'll probably have some that I'll have some shares that I intend to sell on the way up, and some shares that I will sell because I have no idea how high this could go. If it gets into 4 digits, at that point, I'll still have a few shares left that's planned for NextBridge hydrocarbons, but at that point, I will probably sell the last of those shares, right? 4 digits would be very, very nice. And for me, that would be life-changing money, and I'm sure that may be life-changing money for a lot of you guys out there, right? So $3 spike at the end of the day, yes, that is true, but it came back down, and I think that the reason it came back down is that the algorithms are still turned on. So will you ever have a meet and greet, Tony? I might be in Vegas, so you never know. I swear I saw Knight still shorting after the notice. Yes, I think you did. I think the algos have not turned off, because I think that FINRA did its daily list. That has not gone all the way through the DTC to the brokers yet. So I think that you did see Knight still shorting. Okay, and so whoever is the last to turn off their algos will be in the worst shape of all the shorts, right? I want to sell half and keep half. Kevin Dolan says, I want to sell half and keep half so bad, but if the price goes parabolic, I have to sell. I agree. There you go. My plan is to keep some, a little bit, right? And then Steve Pachetsky, congrats, Tony and everyone. Wow, diamond balls. Okay. Wife changing money, like someone else said earlier. Okay. Well, I don't know about that. We'll see. You might be happy with your wife. There you go. Fidelity will not allow to set sell limits in triple digits. No, they won't, not right now, because they have a 5x price limit, right? So here's what I was thinking about Fidelity. It's kind of interesting. I believe that at some point the computer algorithms will go on and they will just hit the ask of whatever the ask is, right? And I was thinking that, I need something to be sold at 5x the current price, and then 5x current price from there. So I might put up a small number of shares for sale there just to get that ask price available on the order book, and so that it gets hit. And when that gets hit, then put a small number of shares at 5x the price, so that ask will also be on the order books and will also get hit. So at that point, we will be in pretty good shape. So 5 times 8 would be 40, right? So put a tiny number of shares at 40, just so that ask is available to be hit, and then put another, some other shares at 5x that, which would be, 40 times 5 would be 200, right? So to make sure that ask would get hit, and at that point, you'll know you'll be in the triple digits. You will know you'll be in the triple digits. If the price goes parabolic, can you always buy some other dividend-paying stock of your choice? Yeah, you can, of course. Don't forget, you only have a few days for this. This position will, this whole scenario will go away in by Tuesday, right? Or no, what? No, it'll go away by Monday. So it'll be gone by Monday. Yeah. If the price goes parabolic, will you? Chat is scrolling so fast I can't see it right now. Do you think MMAT will keep up 15 to 20% value of MMTLP as price moves up? I think MMAT will keep going, because I think what's going to happen is MMTLP will go astronomical. People will make a ton of money in MMTLP, and it's only natural that they would put some money back into the parent company, which is MMAT, right? So you give some back to George because, he got this whole thing rolling for us. He got the S1 done. He got all of this stuff done for us. So you give some back, and you watch MMAT go insane price levels. And MMAT will keep going because George already had a plan to sell up to $250 million worth of MMAT. All right, that's a tiny bit of dilution, because if the price of MMAT goes to $50 a share, let's just say, which is not unreasonable, then $250 million is not a lot of money. I mean, not a lot of shares. It's like, what, 4 million shares, something like that? No, 5 million shares. If it's $50 a share, it's 5 million shares. It's insane, right? I mean, yeah. There's 360 million shares of MMAT, and adding 5 million additional shares is meaningless, right? But at the same time, it brings $250 million into MMAT, which allows them to grow, expand, keep developing the technology. MMAT is a much longer term play, and that means that you stand to get long-term capital. Give it long-term capital gains tax in the US, which is much cheaper than the regular short-term capital gains tax, right? Which is the same as regular income tax. So let's see what else is going on. Hey, Tony, any way to know how many shares ended up being registered with ATC? I think you mean ATS, but I don't know. That's a good question for George Pelikaris. He might be able to. He might be able to tell us. Tony is live, baby. I don't think I've ever caught you live. No, you have not. Probably not. This is the first time I've gone live, and it's actually worked. With like video and everything. So there you go. Do shorts really need corporate notice to buy back? Okay, I think that's Murat Aksu. Do shorts really need corporate notice to buy back? Shorts do not need corporate action notice to buy back, but they will be told by their broker basically, hey, look, it'll be position close only after the 8th, and that means that they can sell at the time of their choosing before the 8th, or they will be closed for them. And when that happens, that's it. There's no going back. Oh, by the way, after the 8th, it'll be position close only. So it's a unidirectional trade. If you're a long, you can only close your positions, which means you can only sell. If you're a short, you can only, of course, close your position, which means you can only buy, right? So being directional in one way means that's it. That's all you got going at that point. So make sure you've got all your plans set up. That's important. Remember where you think remember where you think price targets are good for you. Everyone has their own price targets, of course, and the reason for that is everyone's got their own life situations, which are different, right? That's why I always tell people I'm not a financial advisor. Bird is live, Tony. Oh, okay. I don't know how to bring Bird in, or I don't know how to go live at the same time. It would be cool if I could find a way to bring Bird in. I'm not sure how. Can you do a live stream during market tomorrow? No, I will not be able to do that. I will be at work at my day job. I don't really need. Well, okay, with MMTLP going on, I will not need a day job after this. I don't really need to be working at a day job right now anyway, with MMTLP being the price it is. But I like my job, and so I'm going to still be at work. But I will still be tweeting and twittering. So if you're on Twitter, you can see what I have to say along the way. You rock, sir. Thank you. After the 8th, you can still buy, but you cannot get the dividend according. Yes. After the 8th, you can still buy, but you cannot get the dividend according to FINRA. So there's no reason for longs to buy because you won't get the dividend. The only reason to buy after the 8th is if you are a short. So if you're short, then you can close your position. You won't get the dividend. You weren't going to get the dividend anyway if you were short, but you can close your position, right? So at that point, there you go. Tony, quit your day job, go live. Yes, this will probably be life-changing money for me, so I will probably do something else, but I will still be making YouTube streams and all that. It's fun. Phone dying. Thanks for everything, Tony. Oh, okay, sorry that your phone is dying. Which day will most shorts close? I don't know. Please tell us, for example, if 65 million long shares get sold after the 8th, does that mean when NextBridge is sold, the payment will be split among... so if a whole bunch of shit... So we will see everything that happens with regard to volume, right? If we don't see massive amounts of volume the following days, that means the shorts haven't closed yet, and that means they're waiting. So look for large amounts of volume. We had 5 million shares of volume today, and that was mostly in the last hour of trading, and I don't believe that was shorts closing at all. I believe that was FOMO because longs found out what's happening, right? Longs got the news about FINRA, so that wasn't shorts closing. I don't think shorts had I don't think they can react that fast. So you'll need to see volume larger than 5 million shares a day. Probably close to 10 million shares, maybe 20, maybe 40 million shares. It depends how many shorts there are out there. I think that I calculated that if there were 80 million shorts or something like, I mean, it's easy to figure out, right? If there's 80 million shorts, then you would need, and they have to close in 2 days, you would need what? 40 million shares a day of volume, right? If they have to close in 3 days, that's it's close to 30 million shares a day or something like that. So we're talking large quantities of volume, right? If there's more than that, of course, there's much more than that. Who knows? I mean, this thing will go bonkers and berserk in the last few days. I believe the very first time this happened with the merger and spin out and whatnot was in June 21st of 2021. And at that time, there were a bunch of trapped shorts because they assumed that the merger would take place on a particular day. And George Palikaris said, hey, we finished our paperwork. We're done a little bit early. So we're done. So there were a bunch of trapped shorts at that time. So those guys, unless they closed out their positions, then they got rolled over into MMTLP shorts and MMAT shorts, and they still have to close those positions. But this time, I believe they're not going to do Scotch or bourbon. I like Scotch actually, but I'm okay with bourbon as well too. But lately, I've been looking at Scotch. Anyway, MMTLP is not going to be like anything else. Totally unique situation. I agree with you. Rhymes with AMC. Peter Molly, you just said this thing will go bonkers in the last few days. These aren't. Oh yes, I mean in the next few days, not the last few days, or the last few days of trading. How's that? So it will be absolutely nutsoid. Yeah, because in the last days of trading, that will be the shorts having to close out their positions. And I think that they set it up that I think FINRA allowed for that possibility to give shorts a few more days just to close their positions if need be, right? So now they have 1 or 2 days to close their positions without longs buying, because longs won't buy because we won't be able to get to NextBridge. So it'll probably wind up being position close only for most brokers, right? Most broker dealers. Genuinely appreciate everything you've done, Tony. Can't wait to follow you in the next venture. The next venture is going to be MMAT. Hi, at Right Brain Trader. Hey, Right Brain Trader. It's good to see you. Yeah, I remember hearing that you had a ton of shares from Terry, and at one point, and I was like, wow, you've got a lot of shares. So I wish you the best, Right Brain Trader, and I wish you large amounts of profit. Because the better you do, the better I do, the better everyone does. There is no way shorts cannot get away with this because of preferred shares, right? I don't think they can get away. I don't think they can get out of their situation easily without spending a ton of money because they have to close their positions. And I don't think they've been closing. They had a year and a half to close their positions. And for a while, I think maybe they were able to close their positions. But I think at this point, there's no, I have no idea how they can close in the next 2 days. If I were short, I would just, so if I were short, and there may be some shorts out there, the only chance you have, and you know this, right? So I'm not telling you anything that you don't know. The only chance you have is to probably buy MMAT long call options, because you need to move, you need leverage on MMAT's price moving up, and the hope that people who will buy MMTLP will wind up going heavily into MMAT, and that price run up will clearly, go way past your strike price in your long call option from MMAT, right? So that's what you do, but you know that. But so MMAT will have to run, and that's your only chance of getting out of this, because nothing else is moving in this market right now. There's nothing you can use as a counter as a counter market movement, right? I mean, today was a red day on the S&P 500. Red. Everything went down. Everything went down. MMTLP went up. And MMTLP went up significantly. And shorts, unfortunately, you had a plan to hammer it down. You were using psychology against the longs. But unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there who know what you're doing, and we just spread the word. This is all a psychological play. So all the longs are green. The longs are green several times over. In fact, a friend of mine texted me he bought a whole bunch more shares in the morning. So good for him. You know who you are. And I just wish everyone the best. My voice is starting to go. So therefore, I will be cutting off the live stream. And I will be saying thank you, everyone, for being in there. And I really enjoyed the ride, and the ride is still going. And this is going to be so much fun. If you've never been in a situation where the price of a stock goes parabolic, that is one of the most fun situations you can have. Your dopamine is going, who needs drugs at this point? You got the stock price moving up. So I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling super, super great at this point. And talk to you later. My voice is going to go. So I just want to say thank you to everyone else that was out there. You guys inspired me to keep making videos, and you inspired me to learn more about MMTLP than I ever knew. So it was great. And thank you to everyone else that was out there, like Terry Yonkers, Roller Pigeons, Uncle Smokey. I mean, these guys are phenomenal. Big shout out to Meta Support Channel and to Syntax 007. Those guys are awesome. Those guys know what's going on, and this is not their first rodeo. So listen to what they have. Listen to what everyone has to say. I mean, they're all good. Okay. I think Syntax is probably going to do some sort of MetaFam chat at some point later on. She might even be doing one tomorrow, right? So if you are long, and you might want to tune into that one. So I will talk to you guys later. But thank you for tuning in. And wow, there's 386 people here and 191 thumbs up. Thank you so much. So I had no idea that I had an audience, but thank you very much. One big shout out. I first really became aware of this I became aware of this for two reasons. I saw the Roller Pigeons initial video with Uncle Smokey, where she was talking about this weird stock called MMTLP. And I had to go over that interview for 2 hours, because I knew Roller Pigeons was saying something that mattered, but somehow it just didn't make sense to me at that very first interview. And the second thing that actually caught my attention was Houston Wade had something going on where he was talking about MMTLP, and he now talks about, Acme preferred stock, or the mythical company, or the mythical preferred share. So those guys got me interested in MMTLP at the very first time. I think Houston made me aware of the existence of MMTLP, and roller pigeons got me to be aware of how significant the find was. Right? It was through her interview with Uncle Smokey that I found out it was 3.2 billion barrels of oil in the ground, and that is a huge discovery in Texas, right? And the big deal here is that it's in Texas. Why is that a big deal? Because if you see where oil is actually pumped out of the ground, there are various different places and various different companies that spend a ton of money to pump oil out of the ground. If you go up to Alaska, it costs you more to pump oil out of the ground there because the places freeze over almost all the time. It's very, very cold. The working conditions are below zero, right? It's really cold up there. Worse than Alaska is if you're not even on land. If you're on an offshore oil drilling platform, you got to drill through water, which means it's a multi-billion-dollar investment just to get the platform created, right? I mean, it's phenomenal to see these oil rigs out there in the ocean, but you don't want to work in the ocean if you can work on land. And if you can work on dry land in a decent climate that's pretty warm for the most part, and in Texas, the really good thing about Texas is it's in the United States of America, and at the same time, it's private land in Texas. So being in the United States of America means you have a stable government. That's very, very important in terms of like wherever you go trying to get minerals and resources, right? You go to some third world country out there could be a revolution, and if there's a revolution and the new government hates you or hates capitalism, they may decide, hey, they're going to nationalize all the oil, and then you're screwed. So you don't want to be nationalized, and you don't want to have your oil taken away from you by going to a third world country there. You also have because you're in the U.S., you don't have exchange rate fluctuations and problems with that. But the really nice thing about being in the U.S. is you have access to people, right? You have access to some really, really skilled people in the oil industry. And Texas, everyone knows oil there. I mean, it's just oil is second nature to people in Texas, right? So this find is phenomenal, right? So yeah. So anyway, there you go. Taxes are heavy if you're selling in the markets. Yes, taxes are heavy. I have some long-term capital gains taxes that will get triggered, but most of my profits from MMTLP will probably wind up being short-term capital gains, and that's in California, which means I will be spending through the nose in taxes probably. So good night, cash up. Yes, I agree. Good night, cash up. And depends how long you were holding Gary. Oh, yes. So yeah, in my case, I'll be paying a combination of long and short-term capital gains taxes. I'm perfectly happy with that. That's fine. But with the secondary play into MMAT, a large portion of that's going to wind up being, I think, a large portion of that can wind up being long-term capital gains tax. So at that point, when the price goes up significantly, $250 million goes in because of a small offering by Metamaterials, right? Because at that point, the price of MMAT will go through the roof. What's the price now? It's probably somewhere. Okay, let me just look it up. I think it's somewhere in the range of. Okay, let's see. What is the price of MMAT? It is $1.95. Yes, it is under $2 right now. So I'm seeing MMAT going from $2 to easily $50, maybe $100, maybe more. Right. Not financial advice. Not a financial advisor. This is for entertainment and educational purposes only. If it does go up that high, which we don't know that it will, but if it does go up that high, MMAT could be a nice 25 bagger at minimum, right? So that's really nice. And if it doesn't go and become a 25 bagger and it's only a 2 bagger, Still good. Still good, right? I mean, yeah. Oh, yeah. So at one point in time earlier on this year, I found a bunch of cash, and it turned out that I could take that cash and I could invest it into something stable, right? So I figured, what's the most stable stock around? Well, it turned out at that time, just from price action alone, this was around the February-March timeframe, that MMTLP was the most stable stock around, because the S&P 500 had been dropping like a brick, right? Down 20%, down 25%. But MMTLP, flat, stable, flat, completely flat, right? It was hovering around, what, $1.50 or something like that for the longest time. Flat, totally flat. Why was this so flat? Stocks don't stay that flat normally. Stocks never stay that flat. The only reason it was that flat was because of algorithmic trading. There were computer programs out there that said, hey, if the stock gets above this price, start hammering the stock down. Right? That's what the computer programs do. And if this price drops down too much, right, then they know people would wind up buying. So they don't want to hammer the price down too much. The computer programs only want to hammer the price down enough that people get bored of it, right? And so at that boring time frame, unfortunately, as people were getting bored, I was saying to myself, if this thing goes nowhere, I still beat the S&P 500, right? So I bought a bunch. I bought a fair amount at that time. And Tony Montana, say hello to my say hello to my MMTLP. There you go. So at that time, that's a story of how I bought a bunch. But because that's in the February-March timeframe, I didn't get that for 70 cents a share. I think I got it for like $1 a share or something like that, because they had hammered it below. Oh yeah, at that time I think they were hammering it down to about $1 or so, which was insane. They were trying to get people to sell, so I said, okay, I'll buy. Just because I happened to have some cash at that time, right? Just pure luck at that time. And if you have cash, you got to put your cash somewhere. You're not going to leave it in the bank and get 0.1% interest, right? So so I went into MMTLP, which was stable and had an upside potential. I figured, hey, worst case, come on, how long could it take for this stock to go up? It's got to go up sometime soon. Little did I know that it would take this long, but I'm perfectly happy. I can't really complain. Most people don't make 500% or 800% or 1,000% in a year. Okay, and that's basically what MMTLP has done. So I am extremely happy with MMTLP. My average is $1.50, and I'm ready for this week. Yes, I agree. Awesome. Oh, my average actually went up. So my average was hovering around $1.50 or so for the longest time, and then about a month or two ago, I found out I could get access to my 401k plan. I thought I'd have to quit my job. Before, I was actually thinking of whether or not I had to quit my job, not because I don't like my job. I love my job, but because of the opportunity of MMTLP. I was thinking to myself, look, if I quit my job, I can get access to my 401k plan and dump all my 401k into MMTLP. This was about 2 months ago or 3 months ago or something like that, right? When the S1 was being filed, amendment number 2 or amendment number 3. I was thinking, is it worth it for me to quit my job just so I can get access to this 401k plan so that I can self-direct it and then dump it all into MMTLP, which I did not do, okay, because I actually do like my job. And but then later on, we met up with some people at work, and they said, hey, you can actually get access to your 401k through this thing called Brokerage Link at Fidelity. And it's like, oh, I can? Well, then as soon as I became aware of that, I started buying a bunch of MMTLP. Unfortunately, by then the price had gone up, to be, several dollars per, like $6 or $8 a share or something like that. But yeah, I bought as much as I can. And so my average has actually gone up significantly. Am I sad that my average went up? No. I don't really, at this point, I'm thinking I don't really need a 401k that much anyway, but it's nice to have MMTLP grow in a tax deferred account. So I'm very happy about that. So yes, MG says, I have mine in my IRA, but that's okay with me. Infidelity. Yes, I am Infidelity as well too. And I keep that and I keep a small portion in my IRA. And I think that will grow very, very well. So my future plans are my immediate plan is to watch MMTLP. After this thing goes up, then I'm going to go, head over heels into MMAT, because I really believe that that's going to go, and that's going to give me anywhere from a 2x, 5x to 25x, maybe 50x gain, I believe. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. This is all speculation, of course. And this is for entertainment, educational purposes only. So, and at that point, I will be able to have enough money that I can do whatever I want for the most part. Actually, I will, from MMTLP, I'll have enough money. I can do whatever the hell I want for the most part anyway. So I don't really need to do that. But, part of me just wants to say thank you to George Palikaris. And if it means investing in his company, sure. Yeah, I mean, because he did the hard work to get MMTLP out there, right? And the way I look at it, he did it took longer than I expected. Yeah, sure. But I'm not going to complain, because the amount of money MMTLP is going to make is going to be phenomenal. And so I have no problem reinvesting back into George Palikaris' company. And I believe in John Berta, and I have not heard from Greg McCabe, but I believe that John Berta would not want to merge with a company that he did not have faith and confidence in, right? So together they picked each other, right? So both companies found each other, and they found them to be worthy and to be a good value, and to have common growth potential, right? So there you go. Anyway, so I have been saying that I'm going to close this live chat, so I think I will. And it's been about 40 minutes or so. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I think we're going to do quite well. So not financial advice, not a financial advisor. It's, of course, live chat is for entertainment and educational purposes only. And to me, MMTLP has been extremely entertaining and very educational. So goodbye. Thank you.